Morning and welcome to my Tire Side Chat. So I haven't made a crypto focused video here in a while. It's Thursday, April 3rd, day after Liberation Day. It was so huge. I couldn't sleep last night. Well, I mean, actually, I slept fine. It doesn't have any much to do with what's going on. It's just the way I sleep sometimes. Where I went to bed at 9:30 and then I woke up at 2:30 or 2, and I tossed and turned for a bit, and I finally got out of bed and I went out to the living room and laid on the couch, and like an idiot I turned the news on for about 30 minutes and just watched, analysis from the fallout from Trump's announcements yesterday. It's all good. Everything's great. I'm getting tired of winning. I don't know about you. I'm really getting tired of winning. What can I say at this point? I feel like, and then the market's reaction to it, I feel like Tim Roth in Reservoir Dogs, who gets shot and is bleeding through the whole movie to death. And then at the end of the movie, he gets shot again. He gets bleeding from the stomach profusely. That's my portfolio right now. And there's probably a lot of, most of us are in the same boat. Poor Mr. Orange, and then, and Mr. Orange, he was an undercover cop the whole time. Kind of like I was not a Trump supporter, and I'm in the midst of all these Trump supporters, and I'm the one who got shot in the belly twice. Again, and I keep sticking around. Why am I sticking around? What have I got to lose? What else have I got to lose at this point? I don't know. All this to say, it's difficult. It's difficult for everybody right now. I mean, let's zoom out a little bit here. It's going to be more difficult. These tariffs, it's very unlikely that this is going to help anything, even in the long run. The president is betting and doubling down on this hard, that he really thinks that this is going to fix things. At least that's what he's saying. Whatever his motivations really are. And I don't know about you, but I don't trust him. I don't understand how anybody trusts this guy. I mean, even back in 2016, we knew he's a liar and he cheats people. And the crypto industry, I don't know how people still trust him when right during his inauguration he launched his own crypto meme coin that went from $1 to $75, 50 cents to $75 overnight, or in a couple of days, and he made millions off of it. Him and his family made millions off of it. He's in this for himself and his family, and for the tech bros. He's not in this for anyone else. And if we're thinking that we're going to try to grab onto his coattails and ride along, maybe that'll work. But trying to predict how to do that, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. I still think that eventually cryptocurrency. There's so many other signs to show that in the long run, the investors are there. The retail space, I think like Wall Street eventually, and the banks, everyone's wanting to get in on it. And there's plenty of movement in that direction. So I think, long term, great. But in the broader sense of the economy, the global economy, and the standing of the United States in global trade, it's not looking good. And the president, again, is betting on this so heavily and thinking that he's right in doing this, when economists, like 90% plus of economists, big businesses, small business owners, anyone with half a brain can go back and look historically and understands what tariffs really do, and historically what they have done. None of those people are in agreement with them, and everyone thinks that this is a bad idea. So who's going to be proven right in the end? What do you think? Trump, because he's had so many successful businesses and is such an honest guy? If you want to believe that, you go right ahead. Me personally, I don't believe that. And right out the gate, and with the Trump and Melania coins and stuff, like, if that's not evidence enough for you that he's in this for himself, after so many other examples, even from his first presidency, and his business history, fine. So in the meantime, I'm back to just focusing on my family and my regular finances, and seeing where I can cut spending in my budget, in preparation for a lot of inflation that's probably going to start hitting us here in the next week to 3 months. And I feel sorry for people. At least I have a good job. Danielle is still working. She's bringing in some money. We're doing okay. Even my daughter's working 2 jobs. She's in college and living at home. She's not moving out anytime soon. She can't do like I did even 20 years ago. When I moved out 20 years ago, 25 years ago, with my first wife, the apartment I had, which was cheap at the time, but we were paying for a 2-bedroom apartment in an okay part of town, actually right next to where I was going to college, right across the street from where I was going to college. And I was paying $390 a month for that 2-bedroom. It was like a 900 square foot apartment or something. You can't find that now. You can't even get a room for $400 a month. Hardly. So, yeah, my daughter's probably going to be living with us for a long time, unless she moves in with like 3 or 4 friends somewhere. And then it's like, financially, why do that? If she could just live at home, and we're thinking about having her contribute financially to the house. I mean, she may as well get used to it. And otherwise, she's just, I don't know, it'll teach her a little fiscal responsibility. But, yeah, that's again what it comes down to, the American dream, right? How many of you out there still believe in the American dream? What does that even mean? The American dream, as it was defined in the 1950s, post-World War II, by the Boomer generation, yeah, you have a single income family, and you pay cash for a house and a car. And there was no credit card debt back then. I mean, right now the 1980s are looking pretty damn good by comparison. And speaking of, I got to go back and find it. I'll probably repost it, but a friend of mine shared a video of Ronald Reagan from the 1980s when he was president, talking about the downsides of tariffs, why they're a bad idea, and what they do in the long run to the U.S. economy, imposing tariffs on other countries and starting trade wars like this. Have the Republicans just, who endear Ronald Reagan as a demigod, they've just forgotten. It's not the same party anymore. Which is funny because we met with a vendor of ours yesterday, an older guy that does, they service our, they handle our copy machine leasing. And I've actually worked with this guy before at a previous company. Nice guy. He's near retirement age too, like my boss is. And but we were at this meeting. He just likes to show up and talk about whenever we have a contract renewal, to talk about it in person and check in on us. And we wound up chit-chatting for like 30-45 minutes, and really only like 5 minutes of it is talking about the renewal of the copiers. But in chit-chatting with me and my boss Doug, who's also a staunch Democrat. Not that I'm a staunch Democrat, but anyways, he said, I'm a small business guy, and I've managed my own business for years and years, and he's like, I voted for Trump, and I'm honestly not too happy about this right now, and I'm maybe having some regrets. He said that, and then we finished our meeting, and then I walked him to the front door, and I had to go back up to my desk. But Doug walked him outside, and they were standing out front talking for like 20 minutes. And Doug, I saw him later on in the morning, and Doug said that he's like, yeah, I talked to him some more, and we were just chatting, and then we started talking about politics, and I asked, how did he put it? Something like, even though you voted for Trump, I'm still willing to be your friend as long as you admit that you regret it now. Like, joking with them. But they've worked together for many, many years, and they're friends. But yeah, Doug told me later how they were talking, and the guy admitted that if he could go back now and not vote for Trump, then he absolutely would. And I think there's a lot more of that happening. People that voted for Trump, even, and he was talking about all these tariffs that he was going to implement at the time, during the run up to the election. And I don't know, I think, there's the people that were cheering it on, thinking, yeah, that's what we need to do, and that'll teach everyone, and blah, 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 that's going to be great for America. And then there were other people, even like myself, who weren't voting for him, who thought, maybe he doesn't mean that, or maybe he'll implement tariffs, but it's just going to be, some minor ones against China like he did last time, and it's not going to be that big of a deal, or he kind of blew it off, and didn't think it was going to be anything like this. And I think that there were probably a lot of Republicans who voted for Trump and heard him say the same thing. He kind of thought the same way I did, like, he's just going to put some small tariffs on China and not against the whole world, and not to this degree. And now they're regretting that. And this is and that was the primary, reason that people voted for him. A lot of people, was to deal with inflation. When looking back on it now, the Biden years look pretty damn good. Or if they don't already, then they're going to. Parts of the economy were not great, and yeah, you could argue that we were already in a recession. depending on how you looked at things, absolutely. Were things great? No. But, considering we had just come out of COVID, that's a whole other discussion. But I don't think anyone expected what we're going through now. So, all that to say, well, here I am at work, and I'm gonna just focus on my job. That's all we can do. Those of us that have jobs. Just gonna be thankful for what we have, and keep plugging away. All right, well, best of luck, everyone. Have a good one.